Hi guys, welcome back to the Fluently Fletch podcast with me, Fletcher. You're currently watching me and you're currently listening to me on here, watching on there. I hope you guys are okay. Welcome to episode 3 of the podcast. We're officially a trilogy, guys. We've hit the number 3. I will be honest with you. For some reason, I haven't filmed one of these in 2 months. The reason why, I don't know really, to be honest with you. I seem to do that a lot. I kind of dip my foot into filming and then I just completely stop doing it. To be fair to me, I'll give myself some credit. I've started a job. I'm just working in a restaurant and I'm working quite a lot, so I've been quite busy. And to be honest, I was filming a lot when I was a bit depressed and when I didn't have a job and when I wasn't feeling my best. I found that I was filming videos because I just wanted to express something. But at the moment, I'm just really busy and I feel good, so I've not really felt the need to film a lot. But alas, what now? We're here because I felt the need, I felt a desire to talk about something which is literally on my mind probably most of the time when I'm in public, my relationship with men. Um, and yes, I am a man myself, believe it or not. Uh, that is me. And yeah, I don't know. I want to talk about my relationship with straight men and gay men separately because I do think there is quite a difference. And I have poor relationships. I mean, out of all my relationships in my life, I have the worst relationships with men. And not in terms of I'm not saying I'm beefing men or I'm fighting, but I just have the least close connections with men in general. That includes gay men, that includes straight men. Um, and I wanna understand, I wanna discuss why I think this is and why I'm at this point. And I don't know, maybe I can look back and in the future things would have changed. But yeah, currently at this stage of my life and up to this stage, my relationships with men just haven't been that slay. And I think there could be an interesting point of discussion to talk about. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So buckle up, babe. For some male chats. I love this for me. This is very feminist. This is very about the women. Um, yeah. Before we do that though, I want to talk about my Fletcher's 5 minute faves. My five favourite things that have happened. And to be honest with you, I've not really been. My life's been pretty dull, and I just came up with five things when I was planning for this on my in my book. So I'm just gonna discuss the five things that I've thought about. They're not really that deep. I haven't really been considering too much. Just everything's been quite steady for me, so nothing's been too amazing. I've not had any revelations or yeah. I've just been feeling quite chilled. But alas, we'll discuss my 5 minute faves. So I'm gonna put the 5 minute timer on, and then we will stick to that. So let's begin. 5 minutes have started. So number one, this is my number five. Looking at myself in the mirror and saying, "You look really hot." That's something I've been doing recently. When I'm at work, I look a little bit gross and a bit crusty. My skin's just not giving, and I tend to when I'm washing my hands, not look in the mirror, almost because you're pretty close. Like when you're washing your hands, you're pretty close to the fucking mirror, and if you're not feeling it, you look at yourself in the mirror, and it's like when you have your phone on and it's flipped, and you see yourself on the camera, and you're like, oh my god, it's horrible. So I've been trying to not do that, and I've been trying to just look in the mirror and be like, oh my god, you look great today. You look hot. You look beautiful. Because I mean, what you tell yourself, I guess, is the truth. So why not just tell yourself that you look good? So that's something I've been doing, and something that has actually been quite beneficial to me. Number four, running. I've been running quite a lot recently. I've been getting back into running. I've been running since I was 12 years old. And I'm like a semi-long distance. My ideal run would be a 10 miler. If I'm feeling good, feeling not achy, a 10 miler is stunning. It's enough distance to feel tired, but it's enough just to be like, oh, I'm so fit. Okay, number 3, double denim. I really enjoy denim in general. I'm wearing denim right now. But double denim, there's something about double denim that just, you walk into the room and it's like, ugh, I feel cool. I feel like this is a solid look. This isn't wishy-washy. It's just a denim jacket and jeans and something underneath. I'm not trying to do the most. I'm kind of doing the least, but it has a big payoff. Double denim, just if you don't wear double denim a lot, I recommend investing in some denim pieces, and just something about a double denim look which makes me feel cool and kind of sexy, and it just suits me. It might not suit you, but girl, that's none of my fucking concern. Okay, right. Number 2, um, booking events for the summer. I've been doing a lot of this recently, and I can't say it's been good for my bank account, but it makes me excited for this summer. I've been saying, I think I said it in my last podcast episode, whenever the fuck that was, that I think something big is going to happen this summer. I'm just feeling it. I don't know if it's, I'm kind of manifesting. I don't know if it's going to be a good thing or a bad thing. I'm hoping it's a good thing, because I don't really want to manifest bad vibes. Hopefully it's good vibes. But I think part of that is booking things for the summer. So I've got one festival booked, like a small festival, which my friend runs. And then I booked with my friend Emma this day festival, and Charlie XCX is headlining. I think that's in like July or June. So that's quite soon. Exciting. I've seen Charlie on her last tour. So to see her like in a festival environment, it's going to be perfect. I've also booked, which is really exciting, to go on my own to go and see Underworld. They are a techno group from the 90s, probably one of the biggest techno acts of all time, definitely the biggest British techno act. They got famous because in Trainspotting there was the song Born Slippy, which played at the end, and that got them really famous. It blew up, and now they're just fucking sick. And I came across them when I was 18 when I watched Trainspotting, and since then, God, I'm really going with the hands today. Hello, I'm voguing. Since then, I have just really enjoyed them. So I booked that day thing. It's also a day event. There's other techno artists. I booked my ticket for before 6 p.m. entry, so I can get there quite late if I want to, because I'm going on my own. And I feel like solo could be fun. I've done one solo gig before when I saw Caroline Polachek in Manchester, but I feel like a dancey gig. They're honestly my favourite dance act, so I feel like I'll just go get inebriated and just have fun. And hopefully there'll be a lot of people there who are older, because they're like a 90s group, so there'll be cool people there who are just not on their phones, and I think it'll be a really fun experience. Number 1, no thoughts, head empty job. As I was saying, I work in a restaurant. I love working in hospitality. Yes, let me get you that. I will get you that. Let me do that. Let me put the dishwasher on. Let me put the plates away. Let me go serve that plate. Oh, you've got a complaint? All right, babe, come here. Let me tell my manager. They've got a complaint. Pass them on. I love it. I love to just have no thoughts in my brain. Let me do that. Let me do this. I'll do that for you. Yeah, and just no thoughts. Just no thoughts. Just serving. It's honestly just a great job just to like have good mental health, because nothing at work is that deep. All the 5 minutes is done. Anyway, no thoughts, head empty job is a big vibe. Okay, that's my Fletcher's 5 and 5. I hope you enjoyed. That was a good warm up for me, because I have quite a lot to discuss today. So, Ovi, don't want this to be like deep. Don't want this video to be deep. It's going to be fun, and I'm going to try and keep it lighthearted. Although there are a lot of interesting elements to this topic. So, the topic is my poor relationship with men. And I say that, I mean, I'm not necessarily saying that all my relationships with men are bad. I don't mean that. I just mean in general, if I was better mates with women or men, and I got on better with women or men, 100% I would say women, because I just feel naturally very aligned with women, comfortable with women. I have never really had a bad relationship with a woman. I've had one. They were non-binary actually, so maybe that doesn't count. Anyway, that's besides the point. In general, I've had great relationships with women and I love women. When it comes to men, just babe, it's a fucking roller coaster up and down. I've fallen in love with a straight man. That did not go well. I do not recommend that. If there are any gay boys watching this, babe, just stay away from straight men in terms of romance, sexual, like sex. Just stay away. It's just not. It's not worth the eventual fallout from it. It's just not worth it. Stay away. And I haven't had that many male friendships. Most of my friendships have been women. So yeah, that's kind of where I stand and why I think I just generally have more alignment with women. I want to change that. Like I've had male friendships recently which have actually been lovely and are different to female friendships. So we'll get into that. Anyway, I want to begin this discussion. Well, so we're going to do my relationship with straight men, my relationship with gay men, and also women. Because obviously this title sounds a bit male centric, but it's all basically revolves around the fact that I'm better friends with women and women make me feel happy and secure. So let's just begin by picking up women because I'm a big fan of women. Not in that kind of way, in like a friendship way. Um, Very much a friendship way. I used to be bi. I was very bi now, gay later. I like that expression. That was very my tea. I have had girlfriends in the past. I've had one girlfriend who I had sexual experiences with when I was like 15. That's it. Other than that, I'm a big platonic fan of women. I love women. And that's trans women, cisgender women, anyone with the female energy presenting female. I'm on your team, babe. 100% down with you. Um, so all my best friends have basically been women. There's one case study when we look at men, two twins who are my best friends when I was a kid. Other than that, all my mates, best mates, closest mates have been female. Why is that, babe? Why? I mean, ultimately, I think we all know why. It's because I'm a fucking gay boy. I'm gay. I'm gay. That's me. I'm gay. I'm proud. I'm gay. I'm so proud, babe. And something about gay men, well, it's not even, there's no fucking mystery to it. It's because gay men and women, typically, I mean, I'm talking about straight women. We both are looking at straight men as, or men, they're sort of the enemy. We're kind of together. And I guess lesbians as well, actually, because lesbians aren't even attracted to men. So yeah, women in general, and gay men. Other men are there's a bit of a disconnect there. And we are all together in the village. We are one. We will all braid each other's hair and we will go fishing together and we will walk down to the river together as gay men and women. Do you know what I mean? But when other men get involved, straight men, that's when things turn to shit. So that's why I think I have an affinity with women because I love women and want to support women. And I just think friendships with women from a gay perspective are beautiful because I've never really felt that much judgment from women and especially like a judgment around me being gay, judgment about around me liking feminine things. Women don't tend to give a fuck, to be honest. Like I find that it's the men in my life who have a problem with me not being typically heterosexual and liking masculine things. Women don't give a fuck. Women don't care. Women have bigger issues in the world than what a fucking fag is into. Women do not care. All women want, I don't know what women want actually, because I'm not a woman, but I can presume women just want to have a good time and to be left alone. That seems about right. And I think gay men do that. Like, I love having female friends because I love hearing about their lives, their love lives. I want to hear about their escapades and I want to support them. And if that guy is fucking them over, I can be like, babe, it's fine. You've got me. I'll be I'll be your platonic lover. You don't need that guy. He's not the vibe. I'm very good at being the gay best friend, I have to say. Not to fall into stereotypes or tropes, but I would say that I'm very good at it. What now? So yeah, just a bit of context. All my best friends have been female, pretty much, and I'm happy for it. I feel secure with them. Ever since primary school, I've just always been close with women and girls. And it's that allyship, I think. I also have two sisters. Don't have any brothers. And I often, well, not often, not at all often really, but I have thought about what it would be like if I had a brother. And I don't know. I think it would actually have been really nice. Um, to have a different perspective. I don't know, when you're growing up with people, like your siblings are pretty much your biggest influences, your biggest like point of reference. So yeah, having two sisters um, definitely must have had an impact on me, and because I just feel really comfortable around girls. So and then that must link to the fact that two sisters. So that's obviously contributing to my lack of a relationship with men compared to women because there's just more women in my life. Um, now, so we're still on the topic of women. This is interesting. My friend brought up the fact that I think she was being funny. I also think she was being serious. I'm not sure. Who cares? Are gay men the real misogynists? Food for thought, babe. When we look up the definition of misogyny, it's the dislike of, contempt for, or ingrained prejudice against women. So I guess one could argue that gay men not finding women sexually attractive is a kind of prejudice because you're not into that. But I would also completely disagree that gay men are the true misogynists because I have no hate for women. I love women. I could see some evil demon gays not wanting women in their spaces and they're the problem. But that's nothing to do with women, that's those men's issues. I actually would disagree and say that gay men are not the true misogynists. Because, like, we're the true allies. We support women down. We don't have ulterior motives with women. We have an allyship. We have a sense of camaraderie with women because we both feel like the wrath of men in a way that isn't positive. So I don't know. I feel like to say that gay men, just because we don't like boobs or we don't like having sex with women, or it's not even about sex, but just because we're not sexually into women doesn't make us misogynists. I actually, yeah, I'll die on that hill because I feel like we're just there for the vibes. We're not there for like sex. We're there for the because we want to be there. So yeah, I actually would disagree with my friend on that. I just thought it was an interesting um, topic to discuss, and there's definitely gay men who are like misogynistic. 100%, babe. 1,000,000%. And obviously, a lot of gay men have a lot of gay male friends and not many female friends. And TBH, I've seen this. I worked in a nightclub in Manchester for 2 years, and we're going to discuss this later. But I have seen the divide between gay men and lesbians, and gay men and trans women, and gay men, and basically everyone. And I guess it's because gay men are still men, and men have a lot of fucking issues and they seem to take up a lot of space, and their opinions seem to be the ones that they think are the most important and the most like worth hearing. So yeah, babe, I 100% can see how gay men could be misogynistic and are misogynistic. I 100% don't align with that. I think it's fucked. I think ultimately you should be able to do what you want in life and treat people how you want to treat them, as long as you're treating them nicely and kindly. Like, if as long as what you're doing isn't hurting anyone, then live your life. That's basically my philosophy. And if I was PM, that's what I would say. When what you're doing actually starts to hurt people, then yeah, babe, there's a problem there. So yeah, I can 100% see the argument that gay men are misogynists. Just not me. Like they all say, not all men, not all gay men. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I just think it's interesting. So that's my starting off point with women. I love women and I feel supported by women. Period. I want to go now into, get ready for it, guys. Straight men. Oh my god. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I can't do this. Just kidding. I fucking love men. I'm so attracted to men. This is a big problem. Big problem, guys. I would say that I'm attracted to, out of all the men that I've met, who aren't like 95, and who are like vibes. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Basically, all the men I've met who are like between the ages of 20 and 60, I'd say I'm attracted to probably 85% of them. I think that's normal, but when I speak to people about who they're attracted to, they don't say that. So maybe I'm just a fucking slut. Saying that, I'm pretty non-sexual really. I haven't had sex that much, so I don't know, I'm just a big admirer, I guess, of men, and that would make sense because I'm gay, right? I've, as if I haven't mentioned that many times, but that is an issue when it comes to my relationship with straight men because there's an element. I don't know. It's just interesting. There's an element of I fancy a lot of you guys around me, and that's fine because I mean, at the end of the day, you can fancy someone, and this is how I live my life. You fancy people, but you can just be respectful and be friends with them, and that's basically how it is with straight men. It gets tricky when like in the past I've had straight men, or supposedly straight men, be into me sexually, and I've had escapades with men who are straight. That's a mess. That's not the vibe, and we'll talk about that later. But that's not the vibe. But in general, that's a problem. Other than that, though, I have just got a history, and I'm sure a lot of gay men have this, and women as well, where I've felt slightly isolated and ostracized from straight men. And this goes back to when I wasn't even a man. I was in primary school, and a guy, I've written his name down, Tristan. Tristan, fuck you. The first time I got made to feel like I was wrong in some way for being me, I mean, babe, don't know. I was like, literally, I must have been 10 or 11, so in primary school, and we were lining up to go inside, and this guy was like, gay, you're gay, or like gay boy or something. And I felt like at the time, I didn't really know what that meant. I don't think I knew what that meant. But what the word that he said, and it had gay in it, I don't remember the exact wording, I remember the word gay, was not said in a positive way, it was said in a negative way. And I guess that's the first time I've been made to feel different. And this isn't some fucking victim. Oh my god, look at me. I'm a white gay man. My life is so hard. I'm just saying like it's just like it's context for how I feel now. Because from that point, through my teens and leading up to now, I've definitely felt like an element of being different to a lot of men around me and having to like navigate that. I hate that word. I hate that word. It's so fucking woke. Like I have to navigate it. But having to basically like um, be around men and be thinking about like myself and how I'm presenting to them, because I guess it stems from being made to feel a bit different, and I don't want that to happen in the future. So it's like I guess it's a instinctual thing. I want to be in with the crowd. I want to be in with the pack. So when I'm around men, I am often constantly thinking about how I'm acting and how I'm sounding. Even when I'm talking now, my voice has gone lower. And yeah, we're going to do assimilation 101 in a minute. But yeah, let me just get back to my points because I feel like I'm very good at going off on a tangent, which is good and bad. But yeah, I guess that's the lasting impact of being made to feel a bit different. Not made to feel, because I guess I chose to feel a bit different. But having men, respond to me negatively because I was friends with women and girls at school. And that was throughout school, like all throughout school, all my friends were girls. Like I was the gay in the friendship group. That's pretty standard. I'm sure at your school you had that. There was a friendship group of girls, and then there was like the gay around them. That was me. Hey, and I had a great time, but at the same time, I never felt like welcomed by men. Right, I'm gonna pause this and take another video so my camera doesn't die. So we will be back in 1 second. Pause this. Play. Oh my god. I'm so sorry, guys. Anyway, men. What if they find out? Question mark, question mark, question mark. That is something that goes on in my mind when I'm around a group of men. Not typically gay men, straight men. So I want to take a second to welcome you to my seminar and the seminar is called Straight Assimilation 101 with Fletcher Shardlow, Fluently Fletch. Welcome guys, welcome class. Hello, come sit down. I need a pen or something. Oh, fuck. Come and sit down and welcome to my class. Okay. Hello everybody. I am a gay man and you're here for the day to work out and to figure out and to learn how you can be straight and how to assimilate to straight men. So first of all, as you can tell from my voice, I'm gay. Now, if we're going to be a round of straight men, I will typically talk much lower like this, in a lower register. And I tend to sound a bit less like a posh twat. I tend to be less like, hi, yeah, ha ha, hee hee. And I'm more like, hi mate, yeah, 100%. So what I find is, the word mate is very good to use when you're around men. And it can be hard because it feels a little bit foreign to say, hello mate, how are you mate? And it even sounds a bit weird. But it's a great way to let a man know that you are straight. So hey mate is great. Lower register is great. Trying not to talk too much about yourself because they're going to ask you about you and then they're going to find out that you are gay. So you need to ask lots of questions. This is something, guys, I hope everyone who's watching right now, this is something that you as a gay person will become very good at. Asking people questions because ultimately you want to deflect from the fact that, well, you want to just deflect. This sounds really sad and like depressing, but it's true. Like, I feel very, very adept at asking people questions and finding out about them, and I think that is a queer thing because is the video actually recording? Hold on, I just want to check the video's on. Please say she's on. Yes, she is. Perfect. Yeah, this is something that I've become very good at because ultimately, yeah, I do ask a lot of questions because I actually don't want people to ask me questions, and I guess there's unpacking there to be done, but babe, we haven't got time to do that right now. But yeah, assimilation 101. Deep voice, say mate. Don't let them ask you too many questions, you ask the questions. And I guess it's just a general having a lack of emotional depth and breadth. A lot of things that I find in my experience in talking to men is there's not too much going on. It's not that deep. Nothing's that deep, which actually is one thing that I quite enjoy about male friendships. Everything is quite happy and not surface, but like, just nothing's that deep a lot of the time when, I mean, ultimately, behind closed doors, I think a lot of straight men are actually struggling, but it's not something that typically, in my experience with hanging out with men, comes up that often. So yeah, keep things quite surface. In contrast, when I talk to women, I can get deep very quick, and we talk about things which are quite intimate and interesting very quickly. I'm quite good at getting down to like the tea, but with straight men, it's quite surface. I work at a restaurant right now, and I'm friends with the chef. He's a nice guy. He's got 2 kids, and we're talking about his kids. And yeah, he was just like saying things that about like when they like had kids and talking about his relationship with his wife that I think he wouldn't have said to me if he thought I was gay. Like if he was, it was just quite straight, the chat that he was having, and I was like, right, okay, cool. I actually don't want to know about you having sex with your wife, but you tell me that, mate. That's the vibe. Anyway, so that's my simulation 101. Let me know, guys, if you take that into account and if you use that in your everyday life. Let me know how it goes. Okay, that's just something that I wanted to talk about because it's something that I constantly fucking do, which is so shit. Like when I'm at work, I work with mainly women. I love working with the girls at my work, but I do work with some guys, and I just naturally find myself going deeper and not talking like I normally talk, like this. I talk like this, and I'll be literally switch at work between them and then the women I'm around. So ultimately, it makes me look a bit fucking nuts because I'm like talking in 2 different ways. It's not good. It's not good, okay? And I don't know how we can fix this, guys. I don't know how we can fix it. I think talking about it is good and important. Okay. I want to do some case studies now because I'm done with with this. I'm done. Damn. Case studies. My first male friendships, straight male friendships, was with two twins. I'm going to change the names in these case studies just for anonymity's sake. So let's say Adam and Luke. We were best friends when I was in from reception, sort of like into year three, I think, in primary school. They were probably my only best friends I've ever had, and we used my main memories from this relationship that I had was mm, wrestling. Like and like fighting, like play fighting. We did a lot of that on the trampoline, a lot of like physicality, and I guess being friends with them was my first insight into like real masculine energy because they were like a rugby family and their dad was like a famous rugby player, and I'd go around to their house just and then they had an older brother, so everything was just quite masculine, and I remember feeling a little bit out of place. I actually remember going to their house for a sleepover one time because we would do sleepovers, and they had their other male friends there as well, and they were sort of playing sports in the garden, and I remember crying in the toilet because I wanted to go home, and I didn't quite know why, and I guess I was so young. I was maybe like 10. I didn't have the like ways to verbalize it, but I remember crying in the toilet, and then their mum was on the other side of the toilet when I came out, and I just loved her, and I've always loved mums. But yeah, I guess that was a sign that I was a little bit like I just naturally felt different to these guys, and that wasn't them making me feel weird or anything, and I wasn't crying because they were being mean. Um, I just didn't feel like part of it, and I still can kind of relate to that now, which is sad. But I don't know, like it's just life, isn't it? It's not that deep. It's fine. But one interesting thing about this relationship with these two twins was that we did used to like hump, or they used to like hump me, which is interesting when we were like obviously we were all kids. Um, so that's a fun, interesting element. I wonder how common that is. But yeah, they would. It was an interesting dynamic. They were twins, but yeah, they had some sort of interest in me. But it wasn't ever like like sexual in terms of knowing sexuality. I think we were just kids and we were like experimenting. But I think for me, it must have had a. That was probably my first foray into having sexual feelings towards people of the same gender was through that relationship. So yeah, that's my first relationship. I don't know what they're doing now, but they're all pretty rugby masculine vibes. So love that. My second case study I want to talk about is my straight man relationship that became more than a friendship. And we're gonna call him Jake. I met Jake when I was on my first ski season when I was 18. He was very charismatic, charming, really funny. I got on with him very quickly. I really get on with guys, regardless of sexuality, if they're just confident and fun and can sort of hold cool. And he could do that. So I felt already like I could be his friend. But quickly we became more than friends, and we would kiss each other when we were on nights out. And for him, I think he was very promiscuous with women, and I don't think he'd explored anything with men before. And I think I was his first. We were 18. I was his first foray into maybe being bisexual. I think, and I think for him it was this guy called Jake. I think he was a sociopath, just in general. His approach to women and to sex and to relationships was quite transactional. Um, and I was one of those transactions, and I paid the price, babe, because I was like in love with him. And after my ski season, I was fucking like heartbroken. And yeah, so to add insult into injury, our best friend, a girl, let's call her Mary. It was me, Mary, and Jake. We were best mates, and Jake and Mary were fucking instant. They were fucking. Yeah, they were fucking, and I was in love with Jake. Jake didn't really care about me. Obviously, he was really in love with Mary, and it was just a hot mess. And the big issue was with this whole thing. He wasn't that open. Well, he was open about fancying men, but whenever we would be out, it would always be on his terms. Like it would be when there was no one around, and or if there was a girl watching, he would kiss me, and it was like really intense, passionate, like only kissing, at that point I was very much a virgin, but like that, I think that contributes to my obsession with this guy, and it just wasn't healthy, and it's something that I don't recommend. And I've learned from that never to foray into that, like into having a sexual relationship with a straight man. I say that if a straight man came onto me, I would 100% allow that to happen. So I'm a complete hypocrite. Um, but period. So that's just an interesting relationship that I've had. And then my final case study. Let's skip that one. And let's talk about my most positive relationship I've had with a straight man. I'm gonna call him Chris. I met him on my second ski season. We were like roomies when we first got there for training, and it was my first friendship with a man that I've had. He was like maybe a year or two older than me. He had a girlfriend, and I was coming onto this ski season. I was 22, so it's like last year, over like 2023, and I was a bit nervous about the dynamics between me and men on that season, but I ended up actually having a lot of male friendships on this ski season, and it was the first time I'd had that. The first time I'd like go to the pub with two blokes, and and there wouldn't be girls, and I actually really got on with men, and it was lovely. And this guy, Chris, we became really close. And one thing that what that relationship has sort of shown me is a lot of like straight men don't talk about things that openly. They typically keep things quite surface level, like when you're at the pub. But when they get drunk, and a lot of my relationships with straight men, there's been alcohol involved, and I don't know if that's quite common. Maybe it's just a British thing. I don't know if it's just my age. But like, they'll get drunk and then they'll reveal things to me that they wouldn't reveal to me if they were sober. And this guy would reveal things to me that was like quite intense and upsetting. And it's just interesting that he wouldn't do that when we were sober. And I guess I'm the same in a way. I get maybe it's a male thing, but what is that about men and not being able to convey their like pain and grief unless they're like inebriated? I don't know. It's interesting, and yeah, it definitely showed me another side to like male friendships, and I felt really close with him because he could share those things with me. So it was lovely. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I still obviously fancy him. I fancy all men, like most men, but it was having to, say, Fletch, no, don't be creepy and weird. Don't try and make advances towards this guy who's obviously heterosexual. And I didn't. And it's a good, it's a good way to practice, like being friends with a straight man, a good way to practice just liking someone for friendship, not for any sexual reason. And that takes me into our next section, where I want to talk about. Get ready for it. Gay men. Woo. Yeah. Party time. We love gay men. I do like gay men. However, for a completely different reason, have an interesting and at times challenging relationship with gay men, because I've written it down here. Do I want to fuck you, or do I want to befriend you? Or is it both? This is like a big problem that I have with gay men. Because, like, with my relationships with gay men, because I don't even know how to explain it, and I'm not giving it, well, I've given it a lot of thought just in life, but I don't know how to verbalize it. There's just such a weird dynamic when I meet a gay man, and because there's part of me is like, oh, love it, like, yes, sister, like, gay men together, love you. There's a weird competition element with some gay men where I feel a bit like threatened, or I feel like they're not giving me good energy. There's like a weird competition. And then the third thing is there's also like a sexual element to it, because I fancy a lot of men, and obviously gay men are men, and gay men are interested in men. So there's this element of like, you meet a guy and you're like, oh, are we friends? Or do I want to fuck you? Or can we be both? Like, what's the vibe? And then it makes me feel almost like everything's quite sexual and potentially over sexual. And where does that come from? Why is that quite a common thing with gay men where, well, I don't know if it's even a bad thing. Like, sex is not a bad thing, as long as you're doing it like safely. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. But I think the problem is when it becomes, you can't just be friends with a gay man. You have to want to have sex. I don't know. I actually don't know. This is really interesting. I have quite like a. I mean, I've got quite a high like. I'm quite sexual. Like I fancy everyone, and I definitely am quite open to like kissing a friend, a gay friend, on a night out. I don't have any problems with that. I'm not a prude. I'm trying to say, but also I would like to have male friendships where I'm just friends with them. Like I don't know. It sounds like I'm making this sound like gay men are like sex crazed. That's not the case. But I think the problem is we kind of live in a time now with when you've got things like Grinder and when hookup culture has become quite a normal thing, something that is not really battered an eyelid at. The idea of monogamy for a lot of gay men isn't really a thing. I went for lunch with a lovely friend that I used to work with in Manchester, and he's got a boyfriend, and they're like monogamous. And he said a lot of his gay friends try and like hook up with them and try and get them to have sex with them as like a group thing. And we were just saying like, where's monogamy gone? Like, why is everyone just trying to fuck everyone? I don't know. Maybe I sound like a pilgrim. Maybe it's good to want to fuck everyone, but I do think having good loyalties to people is a good thing. Call me woke. So yeah, I just think it's an interesting dynamic. In my head, I'm thinking about a person. He's friends with my sister, and I go up and see my sister, and I really, really fancy him. But also, I really like him as a friend, and I think he's lovely, and he's younger than me, and I had this like almost protective element with him where I want him to have gay friends and I really want him to I don't know like there's a real friendship there, but I also really fancy him. And when we're out, we're quite tactile and touchy. We've never got together though. So I'm just like, what's the fucking dynamic, babe? What's the vibe? And maybe I don't need to overthink it. Maybe that's my problem. I mean, clearly, um, I like to like dissect stuff. Um, and maybe it's not that deep. But it's just tricky, like when you form relationships with gay men as a gay man to work out what the vibe is. Like, I guess that's the good and the bad thing. Because a good thing of that is everyone's quite open, and sex isn't looked at as a be all or end all kind of thing. It's not the biggest thing. Like, it's actually just a normal thing. And I don't know, maybe men have quite a high sex drive. So then when you introduce the idea of gay men and just having sex with men, things seem to become easier in terms of the availability of sex, but I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing always. I know a lot of gay men who like see sex and men as like just a quick transactional thing, something that I don't know. I'm not, and that's not really my vibe. I'm quite romantic, and on a night out, I want to form connections with people. I'm not a big Grinder user. I like Grinder for the validation that it gives you. There's people around you who think you're hot, which obviously is narcissistic as fuck, and I hold my hands up to that. I don't necessarily use it to meet men. I have in the past, not often, maybe like a couple times when I was in Florence. I met a lovely Italian guy. Hi, Francesco, and that was great. But yeah, I don't typically use Grinder for that reason. But like a lot of guys do, and they'll go out just to have sex with someone. And I'm sure that's the same for straight men. I had a straight friend who would say that I either want to fight someone or I want to fuck someone. I'm like, babe, that's so intense. Like, why are men so fucking intense? I don't know. I don't know. I feel like very conflicted about just my relationship with men. And I mean, I feel blessed that I can just have great relationships with women, but I do want relationships with men. I want friendships with men. But yeah, back to gay men. What else have I written? Okay, let's talk about when I worked in a gay club. This is great. This will be a great way to discuss my experiences with gay men. I worked in a nightclub for 2 years in Manchester, and it was a big nightclub, and there was a lot of staff, and all of us were queer. So there was trans women, gay men, lesbians, and non-binary people, and I think just everyone. It was everything was not heterosexual basically, and cis. I mean, obviously there was cisgender people, but it wasn't straight, is what I'm trying to say. Get to the point, babe. And I absolutely like just loved it, and I think about that time with such fondness because I was 20 to 22, and it was just like such a great job to have as a queer guy living in Manchester. I would just see people from the club and like that were like at the club, and I would see people that I worked with around, and it was just I felt such a sense of community, which was amazing. It also was the first time I'd been surrounded by so many gay men and queer people, and it's overwhelming as fuck. And the positives from it was it was just beautiful, and it was the first time I had friendships with trans people, and the first time I had been attracted to trans people, thought of trans people sexually. I just hadn't had that experience with trans people because I lived in the village, and I just hadn't had that exposure to trans people, and it's just beautiful. And I hope that everyone can have trans friends, and like I don't know, it just gives you a really great perspective. So that's a great thing, and just having friends with just queer people in general, I hadn't really had that much. One of the negative things, and a big thing, was the like a lot of the problems came from the gay men, and there was an environment at that job when I worked at the nightclub of like of not hostility, but there was just always drama, and shit was always going on between people, and a lot of it was caused by gay men. And there's a real narcissism of gay men that they think that they own the club like a gay space. It's not a gay space, it's a queer space, so gay men don't own the space. But there was that energy, and I think, once again, like I said, there was that misogyny towards women and people presenting as women, and it came from the gays. That's a bad thing. Also, there was a highly like sexual energy to the place. Like, I had a kind of relationship with my manager. Let's just call him A. And he was older than me. I was 22. I think he was 25. I still fancy him. Really fancy you, babe. Tattoos, had like an ear stretcher. And that's such a type of mine. I don't know why. Like skater boy, like tattoos, ear stretcher, a bit emo. I find it really hot. I don't know why. Piercings. I think he had a piercing like here or like a lip. I don't know. I don't know. I just think it's hot. But yeah, we had a relationship where he was so overtly sexual towards me, not in a touchy way, in a verbal way, almost like we were like he was I don't know, it was weird. He would just say things, when I was like in the staff room, that were very overtly sexual towards me. And I'm not saying this in I didn't like it way. I actually thought it was fun. I actually think it's fun. I never saw myself as like a victim of some sort of sexual harassment, because I felt like I could have said something if I was uncomfortable. But ultimately, I did really find him attractive. I was just not used to the overt sexualness of his approach, and it was interesting. And like we would get together at work. I think it got to a point where he was told to stop, because he did stop, and we were just friends. But like that was the first time I'd really had that from someone. And yeah, it does create an environment of like I felt kind of on edge a bit, because I wanted to always be looking my best because he might be there. And yeah, it did create a bit of a weird dynamic and potentially a toxic working dynamic. But it was fun, and he was hot, and like every time I'd be snogging him, I kind of thought like, babe, you're snogging the manager, like, love it. Obviously, it's all just fun and games, but what I'm trying to say is like working in a club definitely highlighted the fact that a lot of gay men do have a big. It's just sex is such a big thing, and I don't think it needs to be. Like, I'm sure there's loads of gay guys who aren't that obsessed, or just broken my book, who aren't that obsessed with fucking, and I kind of feel like that as well. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm saying, babe. I don't know. I just think men are so interesting, and it's difficult to have relationships with them sometimes. Other times, it's great, and I feel lucky to have some male friendships that are lovely. And I'm friends with my dad, that's great. I have some male friends who I would say, oh my god, love you. My sister's boyfriend, I love him. I think he's lovely. I think he's great. Then there's the other side of it where I feel when I'm in a situation with a group of straight men that I have to act a certain way, and like that's tricky. So yeah, it's just like a fucking difficult place to like be. It's like a fucking maze with men and relationships with men, and I just don't really know where I stand with it. But I do feel like I'm getting better. I do feel like I have more male friendships, and I'm trying to just be more chilled about it and not fucking overthink relationships with people in general. Girl, really have just gone down a route and explored a topic which I think is really interesting and we should explore more. I feel like there's more topics about men's issues coming up, especially with like adolescence and Gareth Southgate making that speech. And I think it's important. And I think, you know, my perspective is a perspective that, you know, it's different to a straight perspective and interesting to listen to, I guess. So that's kind of where I want to leave it. Want to leave the topic because I don't really know much else to say. I think ultimately, whatever friendships and relationships you have, as long as you're treating the people around you with like respect, then that's what you can do. And hopefully, in the future, I'll have more, a better experience of straight men and men in general. Yeah, let's leave it there. Let's leave it there. Right. I really hope you've enjoyed my episode. And I would love if you got to this point, please leave a comment because baby, you've been listening for so long. What do you think about this? And what are your experiences with men, straight men, gay men, friendships, sexual relationships? How can we fix men? I think that's their problem. It's not really a problem that anyone else can sort. And yeah, that's kind of where I want to leave it. I hope you guys have loved this topic and hopefully I'll be back to film another video soon. Probably not, we'll see. And yeah, thanks for watching and have a lovely day. And yeah, bye. Let's end it there.